Stevie B!
What's up, brother?
Yo, dude.
How are you?
You know what I figured out?
What'd you figure out today?
Well, God, I'm not sure I should say this out loud. I'm at my wife's work today.
Oh, you are?
I'm at my wife's work
Is
today.
that legal?
I don't know. But I'm in a safe spot. That's why I was able to take my mask off. And
awesome.
They have great internet.
Oh, don't you love great internet?
Oh my God, dude. Okay, so if people know, Steve edits all our YouTube videos.
Yeah, I'm in the closet again. So for us, we built a brand on bad internet. So now we have good internet, I think. I don't know.
But dude, okay, so this is maybe a little too much Spinelli getting in here. But
okay,
the upload speed is faster than the download speed.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, you do, because you upload videos
yes,
and it takes for freaking ever. And
sometimes a half an hour.
Right. You need to come to you need to drive up to Sacramento. Come to my wife's work.
Well, I'm not going to do that because there's too much smoke right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But I'm just saying, oh my gosh, it's life-changing. It's life-changing.
Great.
So that's where I am today. So when you watch this, maybe if you see a clip of this on YouTube and you're like, what weird room is Bradford in? That still looks better than Steve's closet. It's my wife.
Sure does.
Okay. All right. Now that we've got that
settled. Let's get to the important part of the day now. Can we?
We have a very special guest with us today.
Yes,
you've seen her on the big screen, the small screen. You see her on the interwebs. She is a lovely person that we're so excited to be joined by. Just say the name. She's joining us today.
Yeah.
Kelly Kruger Brooks. Hi, Kelly.
Hello.
Hey, Kelly. What's going on?
How are you guys?
Sorry, he talks a lot.
I do. I get very excited when we do this show. That's why we're 130 something episodes in and still going.
Yes.
We get excited.
It's crazy.
So first of all, I need to comment on your is that a green screen behind you? Or is that a real place?
This is my kitchen.
Oh, it's a beautiful kitchen.
Thank you. What's funny about this kitchen is that this kitchen is a crash. I don't know if you guys remember the HGTV show House Crashers.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So Josh Temple, the host of the show, I happened to be at Lowe's randomly buying some plants, and I got ambushed by a camera crew. Had no idea who they were, what the show was, and apparently I guess people go to Lowe's to find Josh Temple to be ambushed. So
they just kind of like loiter at Lowe's hoping that they'll be like, anybody want to?
How random is that?
The most random thing ever. And he just I told him to get out of my face because I was so over. I didn't know what they all of a sudden, like, this camera crew's ambushing you.
Oh,
right?
Sure.
Right.
Unless it's Billy Eichner, you're like, get out of here.
Get out. So
right.
then he was like, well, I guess you don't have any rooms in your home that need remodeling. And I was like, hold on, Darren and I had just talked about wanting to redo our kitchen. And so I was like, let's have a conversation about this. And they ended up crashing our kitchen. And they did this in 3 days. If I showed you the before pictures, you guys would, it's insane.
So you get to pick the room too?
No, you do not get to pick the room.
Oh.
They choose the room in your house. As long as it's bad, as long as the before is bad enough,
sure,
they'll do it. So our before was definitely bad enough.
Right.
And we just told them our wish list of what we would love. Darren wanted the 6-burner stove, just certain things that we wanted.
Right.
And we don't know a thing of what they're going to, they design it, they do everything, they surprise you. And the whole thing is you are a part of the build. So I built this, the backsplash for the island.
That's cool.
Darren built the, I don't know, you can't really see all this stuff.
The refrigerator.
He built the fridge.
He blew the glass and harvested the crystal for your chandeliers.
For people who are listening, Darren's on Bold and Beautiful too. And he's a great guy, very funny, nice dude. So. But he can't build refrigerators. I know that about him.
I did put the floors down, like I did the tiling.
Wow.
It was insane. So you DIY, and then the big reveal is at the end. And Darren and I had no idea what it was going to look like. So we had nothing to do with the design or anything.
That's so cool.
That is so fun. I can understand why people want to loiter in Lowe's to get that opportunity. Gosh. But what happens if they crash? If they accost you at Lowe's and you're like, my house is pretty great. Then they just will pick somebody else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, it's a beautiful kitchen. And
there you go.
Lucky you.
Yeah, we thought it was a green screen on Skype for a minute. So
I know.
I just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure.
So I'm sure our listeners know you from somewhere, but kind of just give us a basic idea of where our listeners may have seen you.
Okay. So they may have seen me. I started in the soap world, Young and The Restless. I was Mackenzie Browning Hellstrom now, but Mackenzie Browning. I was the second Mac on YNR.
Okay.
Which is being a recast is exciting.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Wait, go back to YNR for a second. Who were you related to? Anybody there?
I was a chancellor, basically.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
Cool.
so I worked with her for the years that I was there.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah. And then I went back recently for the 45th anniversary. They brought my character back for that whole storyline with JT.
Nice.
I think he left probably, right?
Yeah, I probably was gone because I think I remember being there. Is it possible that I was there for the 40th?
Yeah.
I don't know because I started in 2012 or beginning of 13 actually.
Okay.
So, and then you were on, when did you finish your last run on Bold and Beautiful?
Okay. Well, Bold and Beautiful, I've been recurring on that show on and off since 2014.
Okay, cool.
Oh, cool.
Right on.
So on Bold, I play an international publicist, Eva. So unfortunately for me, I tend to work when Bold and Beautiful goes on location. So
Oh, poor you.
I know. It really
How
sucks.
often do they do that?
Often. I mean, pre-pandemic, obviously.
Right.
I want to say at least once a year.
Yeah,
And
once a year, yeah.
Is it just like where the Bells want to go on vacation, or is it like super like thought out in terms of story? Or is it like, let's pick the place and then write the story? Or is it, let's think of a good story and then where would this be fun to put it?
Well, for example, we go to Monte Carlo every year for the awards, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So a lot of the time we'll film in Monte Carlo and then maybe hop over to Paris. Like my first time working on the
Pop
show,
over. Yeah.
Dude.
Well, plus there's a lot of, there's a lot of places that are very accommodating to the Bells.
Well, I would
So-
like to say this. Bold and the Beautiful as a show is obviously internationally it's huge.
Yeah.
So when we go, and I'm not even a main cast member, but when we go anywhere internationally, it's like being J-Lo. I mean,
Yeah.
Is that like where specifically Monaco or
I've always
Italy?
heard Italy, yeah.
Italy, Australia.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Italy's, I would say, probably the biggest. I mean, I've heard Catherine Kelly Lang. I mean, they shut down blocks for her. I mean, it's
we heard old
Yeah.
Ron Moss stories.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like crazy. Ron Moss and his scarf go to Italy. It's amazing.
They both need separate entourages. It's amazing.
Totally do. The scarf has its own plane. It's really weird. I don't know how they do that,
I
but
know it flies itself. What flutters itself? Let's be real.
yeah. So that's a pretty cool role to be able to do, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing. Honestly, I
Wow.
love it. And it's great. Of course, the additional perk is that I get to work with my husband. So
Sure.
Did you guys meet there, or do you just show up at the same office sometimes now?
we actually met on another TV show called Blue Mountain State. I don't. Do you know
Oh.
that show?
I
Yeah.
do remember that. It was kind of like a fraternity type show.
Yeah, kind of like an Animal House-ish.
Right. Right.
yeah. Pretty inappropriate TV show.
Yes. It
Was it on, what TV network was it on?
Initially, it was on Spike, and
Oh, of course.
But then it got canceled and got picked up by Netflix, and just went. It's insane how it took off on Netflix. And
Wow.
Really?
Is Darren on that one
he stars on that show. Yeah.
right now?
No, he did.
He did. Yeah.
It's not in production anymore. It just gets a lot of views on Netflix.
Yeah.
Tons.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a
That's
whole
cool.
new generation of people. It's been amazing.
But is
but
there
it's-
not to be too like talk too much shop, but is there any residuals when it gets picked up by Netflix? No.
it's residuals, but it's not the way it would be.
No, of course not.
It seems like it would be a buyout.
It's like a revenue share or something. I don't know, or a
Yeah,
buyout
something.
maybe. Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, I just like because
Anyway.
like I think people think, oh, the show get picked up by Netflix. That must be amazing, and it's like it's cool to see myself on TV, but other than that, it's
Yeah.
Aside from the financial, I mean, you kind of that part of it sucks. But
Right.
as a result of that, they shot a movie completely funded by crowdfunding, and we raised, I think it was $1.3 million to shoot the movie, all from fans.
Wow. Okay, so it raised its visibility and therefore gave it another life. That's really cool.
So is that what, were you involved with that?
I was. I mean,
Is that where you were produced a little bit or no?
I didn't produce that.
Okay.
Wish we had, but that was sort of what we, but now we're getting into producing, Darren and I.
Yeah, awesome.
But it was definitely, the fun story for Darren and I is we met season 1 of that show. His character was trying to sleep with my character, and I play a reporter on the show, and the joke is that I tell him if he can get me an interview with the star player, I'll sleep with him. And I ended up sleeping with the coach instead because he got me the interview.
Nice.
But the thing is that all the fans are always like, well, I guess he finally got that interview because now we're married with a kid.
Oh, that's funny.
That's
funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you. You're Canadian, right?
I am. Yes.
Yeah, and from Quebec.
Yeah, from Montreal.
Yeah.
Montreal.
So what was growing up in Montreal like for you? And you can tell us in French if you want to.
It's so funny. I started French school with my daughter. She's 11 months, and we just started a Zoom mommy and me French school this morning.
Wow.
So is she saying like English words yet?
She's just saying mama and dada.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, isn't that the same in French?
Yeah.
So
Mama,
far she has an A.
Papa, mama.
Oui. That'll be the first one. Oui. That's awesome.
So cute. But it was really important. I grew up speaking a couple languages actually, but French being my second language growing up in a French province.
Sure.
And what was it like? It was cold. Very cold.
Well, I'm from New Hampshire, which is like kind of right over the border from you guys. Yeah. And I know a couple times my family would drive up to Montreal to like watch the Ice Capades or something. I can't imagine that's ever reciprocated. I don't think anybody in Montreal is like, hey, we need to go to New Hampshire for something cool. Probably not, right?
There's nothing there.
Maybe like, no, probably not.
Because you probably make your own maple syrup. You have your own ski mountains, probably.
All of them.
Yeah. There's no reason for you guys to come to New Hampshire. Yeah.
So how long, Kelly? How long you lived in California?
God, I moved out here in 2000.
You got to miss the falls though.
I missed the 4 seasons. I definitely but the winters there are just I shot a movie.
They're brutal.
In Toronto last around February actually, and it's brutal. You can't breathe.
It's brutal. I know.
Bones are cold.
It's awful. I
It's
know.
just too much. And but Montreal itself is the most beautiful city, and I almost didn't appreciate it until I left.
Well, you don't realize the contrast in, especially now living in California, right? And living in a city like Los Angeles. Montreal is it feels like a European city.
It does.
On this continent, which is unique in so many ways. Like it feels like a complete departure. And that's what I love about it. But what was growing up there like for you?
So I grew up, luckily, my mom is amazing, and she exposed me to everything as a kid, especially in the arts. So as far as like becoming an actress, I can't remember a time in my life where I didn't know I wanted to act.
Wow. Really?
Ever. Yeah. Out of the womb. Like I knew that it was what I wanted to do. I remember being, when most kids watch cartoons and animated shows, I wanted real people. I never watched cartoons.
Oh, interesting.
And luckily my mother, who's European, really didn't, her mentality was just, let me expose them to everything. If they like it, they being me and my brother, they'll continue doing it. And if they don't, they won't. Sure. So anything I did was because I wanted to be there, not because I was forced to be there.
Right. Yeah.
So I started, my mom was used to dance. She used to take jazz classes twice a week. And at 2 years old, I was in there with them following along. And so dance was something that was definitely early on. I kept doing, and I did gymnastics. I was figure skating. I was playing piano and doing everything. I loved performing. Although the interesting thing about me as a kid was I was the most shy. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I wouldn't look at anyone. But when I was performing, if I was on stage, I would come to life. So it was the weirdest thing. And I find today that still translates because I find that in my work, I am so much more free and vulnerable than I am in my real life. It's a weird thing.
Yeah,
That
that's
it's
a,
like
that is
just
weird.
easy.
Yeah. What is it?
Are you an introvert? Or like, do you like to be like the quarantine wasn't a big deal for you being home alone with
Okay, well, let's talk about this. The quarantine. Forget about me as a person and an introvert, because
Sure.
absolutely quarantine is like an introvert's dream, right? Because you're just home with your
Totally.
But I'm a new mom, and so I've been in quarantine since September.
Oh
So
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like my life, people were like, "Oh, what? Nothing's changed." I had a baby in September. I started in mom mode. You're home for the first couple of months anyway. And
Right.
then it's sort of right when I was ready to get my life back, go back to work. I had work set up for, February, March. Everything just continued to lock down. So nothing really changed for me in quarantine, to be honest with you.
Right.
Right. Having more time in that age range is kind of amazing because
Awesome.
like, obviously, as you know it, even in a pandemic, it flies by.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Is
so
this your first child? And what's Everly? Is that
Definitely. Yes.
Everly?
Yeah.
And 11 months old. Wow, that's crazy.
1.5 months. Yeah. And it's been a blessing because I was, like I said, supposed to go back to work when she was 6 months. So now I've been home with her for almost a full year. So it's been
Awesome. Good
a
for
real
you guys.
Yeah.
if you ever have a second kid, that kid's really going to be shortchanged.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't recommend any more kids than one.
No?
No, I have 3. That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
And Bradford has 2.
Yeah,
That's
no,
why
I
I'm
have
saying
2.
that.
And I got to tell you, during the quarantine, having a sibling for that kid.
Oh, yeah.
That makes it sound like I only think about one kid. And no, having a sibling for each of them. Right?
Well,
has
but
made a big
that's
difference.
true. That's true because Kelly, I have a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, right? So they always were together, always played together, always were together. And now we have a 6-year-old. So this one is just on its own, and that leaves just me and my wife.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the difficult part.
I mean, I'm all for playing with your kids, but if your kid doesn't need you to play with them at all times, that's good too.
Yeah,
well, you can get stuff done.
For sure. I definitely want my kids as a babysitter forever. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's true too right now. Yes.
But honestly, luckily, I don't know how this happened, but she is so good at independent play. And I don't know if it's
great.
because I'm so around all the time, but she can play by herself for 2 hours and I can get stuff done. And, I'm still watching her, obviously. But,
sure.
But I'm very lucky with that because I know a lot of parents during this time are really struggling. New parents, parents of.
You should hang around Lowe's and ask them to make you like a padded room that you can just lock your kid in.
Yeah.
Or yourself.
Yeah, or myself, or leave her with the dog, and he can baby.
Yeah. All right, we got off track. So let's just go back to before you got to California a little bit on your, how you got into acting and what was the kind of aha moment of like, hey, I got to go pursue this in California.
Well, because there are opportunities in Canada to have really great work. So not then. Okay, yeah. So how did your youth take you in the direction it did?
So I just started. I started doing theater at my local summer camp, and that's where I loved. I mean, musical theater, and I'm not a great singer today, but back then I thought I was, and I did get parts because of that. And I have an aunt and uncle who live in LA, and my whole life they were like, you have to come pursue, from the time I think I was 11. And school was really important to my mom, so she never wanted to uproot me. She wanted me to definitely get my education before doing that. But I had a couple aha moments, but one of which was I was discovered by actually a hip hop group, and I was the only kid in this group. And because of that,
you joined the group?
I did join the group.
Wow.
This is why I'm telling you my mom was so amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Most parents wouldn't let their kids do this, I feel.
Sure.
My mother woke up, we rehearsed every Sunday from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m.
In the hip hop group?
Hip hop group.
How many were in the group?
Probably 10 total.
Have you met Kimberly McCullough? This seems like, wasn't she in like a breakdancing group?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know Kimberly McCullough, who plays Robin on General Hospital?
Oh,
I know who she is, but we've never met.
Yeah, she was like in a breakdancing group as a child, and that's where she got discovered.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. But continue with yours. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I started performing, rehearsing every weekend, and we'd start doing shows, and I just, through that, a local news station picked up the story, and so I was on the news for that, and through that, at a local French TV show, it was a variety show, they picked that up and wanted me to come appear as a guest star. Every episode was sort of like someone with special talents, and so I came on as a hip-hop dancer.
Naturally.
It's amazing.
Naturally. It's like such a tiny little girl.
That's amazing.
And through that, I loved being on camera. I wanted to, I did do some modeling when I was a kid, and I hated it because I always wanted to, I found it to be, I didn't really find it a great artistic expression. I wanted to play characters. When I was little, I think I mentioned I never watched cartoons, or I always watched real movies. So what I would do when I was young is I would fake sick, stay home from school. I would have my mom rent my favorite movies. Back then we had VHS, right? So it wasn't like we had to sit and rewind every time we wanted to. I would rewind scenes over and over. I'd memorize them, and then I'd go up into my room with my stuffed animals and reenact all my scenes, all my favorite sceens.
Did mom ever catch on to this? Did it work every time?
That I was faking? Oh, she knew.
Oh, okay.
An actress back then. She knew.
Okay.
Sometimes she'd let me get away with it. Sometimes she wouldn't.
Okay.
But it was, I just loved it. I loved performing. I loved acting. And when I was, I want to say maybe, 12, I was modeling, and my picture ended up on a casting director's desk. And they happened to be in Montreal casting this Jennifer Jason Leigh movie called Dolores Claiborne. It's like I think Kathy Bates was in it. And they saw my picture and they said, oh, she might be a really great young Jennifer Jason Leigh. And so
I can totally see that. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So I ended up getting really close on that movie. It was Down to Me and the Girl Who Got It. And that's when I was like, this is what I really, really, really want to do with my life. I loved the idea of just becoming an actress. So cut to when I was 17, I came out to LA to visit my aunt and uncle who lived here. And we kept getting approached by modeling agencies. And I was like, I'm not going to model. A, I hated it when I was younger. B, I'm short. I was 5'5". At that time, Kate Moss was big. So not being 5'11" was okay. I think she was like 5'7".
Right.
And my aunt just said, listen, you're getting approached by all these modeling agencies. Let's just take you straight to the top. So she walks me into Elite, and which was the biggest at the time.
That was a big modeling agency for sure.
Yeah. And
when you say approached, were you just like walking down the street, or were you like how?
Walking down the street, people would come up and hand cards. They would just hand cards, and they just be
okay.
like, yeah. And so I was just like, why?
LA is such a creepy place.
But I was just looking for anything to really get me here.
Sure. Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, if I can get in the door some way. I was also Canadian, so then you're thinking of, you have to get your work visa and all that stuff. So Elite ended up taking me randomly. I became part of their new face division, and they brought me out here on a visa, and that was it. Like one time where I said I would only move if my mom moved with me, and she swore to me that she was going to move with me, and of course she was lying. She just didn't want me to miss out on the opportunity. And yeah, so then I moved here. I started modeling, hated the world, used it as a stepping stone, met a manager who said, absolutely not, I will not represent you. You're green, you have no experience, you have no ability to work here other than through my modeling agency.
Oh, it's a separate visa.
At the time, I don't remember how, I don't remember how it was, but for whatever reason at that time, he said no. He just said, absolutely not. I'm not interested in representing you.
Sure.
I called this guy every single day for a week and a half. I was so young. I knew nothing. I didn't care.
That's what's amazing about it, is you can
Yeah. And finally, I just said, listen, just send me on one audition and I'll leave it alone. Just give me one shot. And finally, he was like, you are so annoying. He said, I'm going to send you on this one audition, and I never want to hear from you again. Stop calling me.
Wow. That's amazing.
Sure enough, it was for Passions. And okay. And I went in and I pre-read and I got a call back. And he was like, okay, well, maybe there is something here. Maybe we should talk, right? Ultimately, I didn't get that job because it was the most humiliating audition experience of my life. But that didn't work out. But it was my first, which is so funny that I ended up on a soap as
Sure.
my first job.
What was humiliating about it?
Oh, I had never auditioned before. So for my first audition, you guys are gonna die. For my first audition, I went in and I pre-read with the casting director, and all was good because I was prepared to do that. Well, for the callback, you have all the producers in the room, and I didn't understand how it works, but I remember being so nervous to go in audition. And when I got in the room, casting was to my left and the three producers were sitting on a couch, and I remember being like, I'm not nervous. And I had a little bit of a monologue and a little bit of a big speech in this audition. And I just started talking to them and using the casting director didn't even exist anymore. I got this. And they're all
amazing. Oh, that's great though. No, I can totally see that. And maybe in some situations that would work. And because oftentimes in daytime, as you've learned probably, is that sometimes they give you a monologue, which is not specific, and you're just kind of pontificating and
talking to yourself.
And talking to the world might actually be what you need to do, or they want you to do it because they want to get different coverage on different cameras. So they're like, will you turn this way? So you were ahead of your time, maybe, is what I'm saying.
I appreciate you for saying that.
Yeah, for sure. They missed the boat on that.
He's the nice one.
For the fact, I want to say I was ahead of my time, and that I made that choice to show them, look how I could play to the three cameras.
Yeah.
Casting director stopped me in the middll and said, Kelly, can you, the scene's with me. Just talk to me. Don't talk to them.
Oh. Okay. Well,
so there goes Bradford's theory right out the window.
I was trying.
Well, let's just go with your theory.
Yeah,
sure. But so the manager stuck with you.
The manager stuck with me. Yeah.
Awesome.
Which was great. And from there, I went on, and it wasn't, I ended up actually testing for One Life to Live in New York. Not One Life to Live, As the World Turns. Do you remember As the World Turns?
Oh yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So I did kind of the soap test circuit, and then I ended up on YNR as my first contract.
And you were pretty young, right? Yeah. And how was booking that job? Was that the culmination of your dreams to be on television? Was it overwhelmingly?
Yeah, I mean, it was the best. It was the best moment of my life to date, because I never really watched soaps as a kid, so it wasn't like a lot of people who grew up with these characters. I didn't know much about the world. I didn't know much about YNR, but it was the biggest moment for me. And it was also, I happened to be auditioning a lot with this girl, Maggie Grace. Do you guys know who she is?
Oh, yeah.
So at the time, Maggie and I would test for everything together.
She ended up being on Lost, right? That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And we used to test for everything, and everything we tested, she got. And I was always like, damn, this Maggie, every time. It's
my nemesis, Maggie Grace. Yeah.
I put my YNR test, and there's Maggie.
Oh, damn it.
Not this time. It's the first time. She's not. This time it's mine. And ultimately, the joke of it is that I got it, which was great, but then her next audition was Lost. And she, and next time I saw her was at the Golden Globes, and she was like, hey, I was like, I got that job on YNR over here.
Yeah, she's like, it's okay, you can have it.
That's awesome.
I'm going to say, I'll take a role on these soaps over that any day. Look at how lucky we are and how blessed we are to work in this medium during these times. We're the only ones working.
Totally. I know, it's crazy.
Totally.
Yeah. And you're the only one working for 10 to 15 years.
Exactly. With family.
So
with people, you can have kids, you can be, with your husband, wife, whatever, and have it's the best job, truly.
It is in terms of work-life balance.
Absolutely. 100%.
In Los Angeles, it's one of the best you can have. But it also, being on YNR at that age, being that was your first job, made me realize YNR is pretty big in Canada.
Yes.
So that must have been kind of cool too for the friends at home and family at home, right?
Yeah, it was incredible. It was everybody people who never wanted to know from you, all of a sudden are your best friends, right?
Do they don't dub it into French and
Sure they do.
In Quebec? What is it
No,
called?
not in Quebec, but in France they do.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, sure. I
For
wasn't
sure.
sure if in Montreal it's like,
Oh,
uh,
no, they know English up there too, dude.
no, I know they do, but I don't know.
Bilingual. Yeah, in Montreal it's English. In France they do dub though. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was huge. The first time I went home after being on the show was unbelievable. It was so, because don't forget, you're also never as famous anywhere as you are in your hometown, right?
I guess. Yeah. I haven't.
Bradford, is that true? Are you very famous? And where the hell are you from? New Hampshire?
I don't think so. I'm from a very small town, so you might think I don't.
What's
I don't
it
know.
called?
Meredith,
Can
New
you tell
Hampshire.
us?
Meredith, New Hampshire.
Meredith.
Meredith, New Hampshire. I got to tell you though, on Meredith's Wikipedia page, I am one of the notable people.
Are you?
Yes.
There you go.
No, I didn't.
But
But you can adjust that yourself, though, right?
I
Did you add that
I
yourself?
didn't.
Yes, you did. You son of a bitch.
I did not. I swear. Oh,
That's
man.
funny.
Oh,
So,
man.
Kelly, let me ask you this, because Jeannie Cooper's obviously a legend. I mean, and you got to work with her. What are some things? Was there anything that stands out when you worked with her, or any kind of just tidbit of information or knowledge, because she was so amazing?
So she was incredible. I learned from her every single day. I mean, she was just, but the one piece of advice she gave me that stuck with me to this day is that she looked at me and said, remember, on a soap, we shoot a ton of dialogue every day. We're shooting so many scenes, right?
Yeah.
And she said, shoot every scene that you do as if it's the last scene you will ever film in your life.
Good golly.
Right? Because she said, well, there's always tomorrow. If we phone it in today, oh, we have later, we have tomorrow. Shoot every single thing like it's the last thing you're ever going to film. There is no tomorrow. Because,
oh my gosh.
and I get the chills thinking about it, because that has been with me through everything that I've done. So whether it's an audition, whether it's a rehearsal in a film, whatever it is, I give my 100% every time, because
That's awesome.
yeah, it's just, so that would, because I think on soap, sometimes we do get a little
Complacent.
Yeah. And
Sure.
we phone it in sometimes. And a lot of times you're repeating a lot of the same stuff to let the viewer from who missed yesterday fill them in on what's happening today.
Yeah.
So I love that, because that at such a young age really drilled into my head to really just show up every time 100%.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like with all the stuff that you got going on anyway, because we could talk about some of the movies that you did last year or 2019, that you have a great work ethic. And that's something you can't teach. You're kind of born with that. And the fact that you were so persistent with your manager and then, getting on the show and being thrown into the, lion's den essentially on a daytime show where you have to learn dialogue and you're moving quick and you got to figure out the moments and all those things. And to have someone like Jeannie tell you to go 100% every scene just kind of added to what you already did, and made you successful in all the other endeavors outside of acting too, which, is fascinating, which we'll get to also. But
I
so
think
tell us
when you're
go
that
ahead.
young, having a role model like that is a big deal, because
Huge deal.
you have those natural instincts to be a go-getter. If you see the successful people in your first job, if you see their behavior and it doesn't match your behavior, you might second guess some of your things. But having a role model like her, and we were so lucky, we had Corbin, her son, on the podcast like about a year ago, and got some great stories about her too. And it was but yeah, so what a cool experience to be able to work with her in like your first real big job like that. It's amazing.
Yeah, she was really incredible. Everybody on that show though really I learned so much from everyone. I feel like that show really, everyone really is grateful to be there and takes the work very seriously. At least in my experience, took the work very seriously.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's also when you're not from here, where are you from, Steve?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. I do feel like, most people are not from here. We all come from somewhere to pursue this, but it really, especially when you're from another country, I feel like you have really it's really one shot, because if things don't work out, you have to go home, right?
Right.
You're so young. So with my mom, it was kind of like, my mom raised me herself as a single mom, and then my stepdad came into our lives later on. And I think that's always been at the back of my mind too, is that like, you got to hustle and do it now, because otherwise I have to go back.
What an interesting, I've never thought about that from your perspective. Like it's sink or swim, right?
Right.
So like if you get here and you have to find a job, your desire is going to be that much greater anyway, because you don't want to go back, as opposed to someone just kind of, just keep going on auditions. And, that's interesting perspective. I like it.
So as you know, you transitioned off that show and you've done movies and other TV shows, and you started a business, you have a thriving social media thing. So it feels like that work ethic has stayed with you. And so I'm curious, like at what point, and granted it's, as the 2000s went into the 2000 teens and the opportunities for these things, maybe, in 2005, you're not thinking about filling out your Instagram, but like, at what point did you start thinking about, okay, I love what I'm doing, but I want to build more?
I was auditioning and I wasn't really working a lot. And I thought to myself, what could I do where I have control, where I could wake up every morning and decide whether I create today? And part of my mission in life, I had a really hard childhood, and I always looked to certain people to help me. That's part of why I'm an actress, is I've always wanted to inspire people. I would watch movies to give me hope and give me courage, or give me anything that I needed to help me just feel better in the situation. That's why I'm an actress, is if I can impact someone's life in some way, then I've done my job, whether it's make you laugh, give you strength, whatever it is. And I have always been obsessed with skincare, beauty. I battled with acne for a really long time. So I've tried every product known to man. I've done every diet, everything I basically tested everything out. So I thought, what can I do where I can inspire people, help people, share my knowledge? And at the time, blogs were kind of it was 2014, blogs were sort of just starting, but it wasn't a cool thing to do. And then not as an actress too. I got a lot of flack for that. Friends would be like, make fun of me behind my back when I launched my blog, Madison Charles, which is named after my dogs, Maddie and Charlie, that I lost last year, but they were 7, 15, and now they'll forever live on with Madison Charles. But I started this blog because I wanted a place that I can just share information with people, and beauty, health. I've always been into wellness and healthy living and diets, and so I started that, and from there people loved it. And YouTube, I started a little bit later, but again, it was more like, how could I take control and decide in the morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to make a difference in someone's life today? And how was I able to do that? I was able to get up and write a blog post or shoot a YouTube video, or, and so it just started to develop from there. And then Instagram started becoming a bigger thing. And I think I just sort of wanted to do something that I had more control over, that still could inspire people.
Well, and also,
go ahead, Brad.
And it also seems like it's connected to your creativity as well. Yes. Which, you obviously are a creative person. And if someone else isn't giving you a job to express yourself, we have these mediums, these outlets to do that ourselves. And, that's what, Steve and I, that's part of the joy of what we do, whether it's talking to people or doing stupid stuff on our YouTube page. It's about that, being able to, and having an outlet for creativity.
Yeah, 100%. And even from, I make my own beauty products. I would do DIY stuff, and it was it's kind of just, things just kept developing, and I loved it. I loved the feedback. I loved people writing in and saying how even if it's the smallest thing about someone battled with acne their whole life and now their skin is clear, I'd be like, I've changed the world. You know what I mean? Because
it's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Yeah.
It seems small, but it is it is a big deal when people have deep insecurities and
absolutely,
and I help them in some way. So from there, I launched my line of essential oils, and how that's developed was I want
to ask you, so you have skincare products?
I have skincare products through my line of oils. today.
Okay.
Which
Okay.
we get to, yeah.
Right.
But
Okay,
most
cool.
of the blog was really just, even makeup tutorials. I can't even tell you, the one thing that is so fulfilling for me is women of all ages writing me and saying, even if I'm teaching them how to do a smoky eye and they
Sure.
feel beautiful today,
Mm.
that just
Totally.
like that their husband thought they looked, whatever it is, or it's just, I don't know, it's really something that I love doing for people.
It is amazing how like makeup tutorials are some of the most consumed content on the internet, right?
Mhm.
And it's so cool because that it's a community of sharing what other people have learned with other people. But like on YouTube, people that share those tips, those are the biggest views I've ever seen.
Crazy. Darren makes fun of me all the time because the thing with women in makeup, for me, I am not a painter in any way, but when I get a new makeup palette, he makes fun of me all the time. He's like, look at all the, I get so excited to play. And to
Yeah.
me, every morning, people would say, how could you do your makeup during quarantine? For me, that's my outlet. I love to put on makeup. It's relaxing for me. It's creative. It's an artistic outlet. It might sound crazy to some people, but I think a lot of women could relate to that. It's just a fun way to play with color and,
Yeah. Well, and also during,
And you feel good about you. I mean, you feel good.
Yes.
You feel better. Like, I mean, and that's what it's about. The simple thing, Kelly, that you're connecting with people, which I think is overlooked a lot, is just people want to feel good. They want to feel good about themselves, even if it's just for the day, or just build their self-esteem a little bit, where, like you said, a husband will say, oh, you look great today, or your hair is different, or your eyes, people, we want that, and I think that's important. And, my wife's into health and fitness and stuff like that. And that's what she hears all the time, is when people start feeling good about themselves, that's what makes her the happiest. It's like, I feel great this week. I felt better than I've ever felt. And that's why you do what you do,
And it is. And the funny thing is I have a much better day when I know someone else feels good about themselves, or
100%.
than me. That's what drives me, I feel like. And I'm sure the same is for your wife. It's like when you know that you've made a difference in
for
someone's
sure.
life and feel good, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah.
Nothing
And
better.
talking about how you got into acting, it seems like that's all connected. It's all connected to that too. Like there is something about connecting with other humans and sharing experience and sharing of yourself in whatever. And now there are so many different ways to do that and to serve, right? It's a service. Like sometimes acting, I think, is looked at as like an ego thing, but especially when you start in theater and you're actually in front of your audience and you can share something with them, that shared humanity is the drug. And so,
Sure.
now with the internet, and there's so many different ways to connect with people, and yes, the connection varies from medium to medium, but it's still, that's what we're striving for, I feel.
For sure. I studied with Ivana Chubbuck for a very long time. Do you know who
Yep.
she is?
I do. Yes.
So her way of, she has changed my life. She saved my life. And it was through, I think what people don't realize about actors too, is that depending on your technique, and it's almost like it's the most cathartic thing you could possibly do is break down a scene, put all of your stuff in there, live it out. And it's almost like it's so healing in a way too. But
Absolutely.
at the same time, when you put those real experiences into your work, you don't know who you're touching and who's being affected on the other end, who then is seeing that and changing their life as a result. That's why the type of characters I play are really, really, really important. I seek out a certain type of character all the time, or I try to, that really does have that kind of arc where maybe they start very broken or heading in a certain direction, and then ultimately have this incredible arc and win in the end. Anytime I've done a lot of true stories, and I think I almost attract that for that reason, is, to just give hope and inspire and have people maybe learn from it in some way and grow from it. I don't know. It's like, you never think of acting as self-help, but in a way that's, I think, how I
Well, a lot of
approach it.
acting classes turn
100%.
out like a self-help group.
It's definitely therapy. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
it is.
Well, Steve, you've talked about it, at certain times in our lives, sometimes there's a storyline that ends up serving you more in your own life than you realize, or maybe you do realize it, but it is sometimes the timing of those things works out pretty well.
Which, like, don't you feel like in some way the writers oddly subconsciously know that and they do it on purpose?
Sometimes they do. Yes,
Right?
they do, for sure.
I
Like
can't.
yeah, go ahead.
No, what are you gonna say, Maurice?
I would say poor Maurice. Yeah. They're like, let's give him another breakdown. I'm like, how about we don't? How about we don't do another breakdown story? Okay. Because it's not good for Maurice.
Yeah.
But they know if he goes there, it's going to be amazing,
Yeah.
but you're also paying the price a little bit when you're him. So,
Sure.
but yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Let's try and separate it somehow, but it's how do you when you live it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's really difficult. Yeah.
So, and you're talking about potentially producing and telling some of your own stories. If I'm not sure how far along you are in being able to do that, but what kind of stories would you want to tell?
In terms of scripted stuff, you're saying?
Yeah, because you're talking about producing. I mean, granted, I love the stuff that you and Darin do on your social media, and obviously you guys are writing some of that stuff or coming up with an idea and just going with it. But do you guys want to produce scripted stuff, or are you thinking more into? Yeah,
we do. We have a couple projects in development right now, and it's interesting because there's a wide variety of genres. Which we have one, believe it or not, animated, and it has to do with my dogs. I can't tell you.
Oh, that's nice.
It's
Yeah.
I'm not going to say too much about it, but it
Sure.
has to do with Rainbow Bridge. Do you guys know, if you're pet owners, you know about Rainbow Bridge?
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So, and then we have a couple
Sure.
romantic.
So are these stories that you guys have created or
Optioned or
looked to find, looked out in the world to find specific kinds of stories?
We're writing them, and it's,
cool.
A lot of it's based on our life and things that, yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
And is that from like, this is a story I want to tell, or because in the stuff that we're doing, a lot of the things that we're putting in front of ourselves are like, oh, we need to come up with a scripted idea, and I know some people have those stories in them, and sometimes that's one of the struggles Steve and I have, is like, we don't have a lot of stories. We have a lot of ideas to do dumb things. We don't have a lot of stories. So you guys have it sounds like you guys have stories.
We do.
That's cool.
Yeah. Darin and I have been together for 10 years, and those 10 years, a lot has happened. So, and a lot of things that I think a lot of couples go through and can relate to. So there are certain subject matters that we really were like, in the midst of it, we'd look at each other and we'd be like, can you imagine this being a scene in a movie right now? If I could, I wish I could tell you the exact thing, because you guys would laugh so hard. But yeah, I'll give you a little tease. But part of it was, when we tried, we didn't get pregnant right away. So that was a little bit of a journey, right?
Sure.
And we tried for about a year, and there was a moment in there, a couple really funny moments that I'm referring to, but a couple of really, really dark moments. Because,
of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Especially as a woman, you think like that's the one thing that's just supposed to happen. And when it doesn't just happen, you're like, what's wrong with me? And, and then it's very stressful, but there is a lot of comedy that comes along with trying to get pregnant, right?
Of course. So that's great. That's exciting.
Yeah.
And I know your essential oils business. When I saw it, I was like, oh, is that like oils in a diffuser? But no, it's perfumed oils, right? Because there is so I got to tell you something. I'm gonna throw Steve under the bus here. Steve is a hardcore user of Axe body spray, chocolate Axe body spray, and
Dark Temptation. Dark Temptation. And I know one of the reasons why you started this thing was to maybe veer away from some of the aerosols or sprays or something. So can you convince Mr. Burton here that he needs one of your oils?
Yes, I'm gonna yell at you right now, because I'm gonna yell at you.
Go.
One of the reasons I wanted to, so I've been using essential oils for years. I actually discovered them on a movie set. I was sick. She was a aromatherapist. She gave us all these oils, and we're like, oh my God, what is it? It was incredible. I had personally been into it for years. I decided to make it public when I was trying to get pregnant and it wasn't happening. And let me say, we were completely healthy, Darren and I. There was no reason this shouldn't have been happening. We were tested, everything. So, but that's a whole other story
Sure.
for another time.
Sure.
Because that's just universal crazy. So if you want to go in the spiritual of when a baby's supposed to be here, a baby's going to be here, and that's just the way it is.
Yes, we know that one. We have a 6-year-old. That's for sure.
But I started, when it didn't happen for me right away, I started going down the rabbit hole and just started really just digging into why why isn't it happening and what's going, and really being someone who's been into beauty for as long as I have, learning, and I knew this a little bit, but learning about the effects that these beauty products and these perfumes and basically synthetic fragrance, what it does to your endocrine system is insane. Ooh. It actually can cause infertility. There are so many things that you don't realize that you're putting on your skin. Like that spray is horrible.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much.
Not gonna lie, I will show up at your house and take it away and replace it with my or any other kind of.
My wife would be happy. She'd be happy for that.
Yeah. So, I just was like, I feel like it's my job to kind of put it out there and let people know that there's another way to smell good, but also our oils they're perfumes for sure, and they smell amazing, but every single one has therapeutic benefits. So,
awesome. I love that. Cause he tried some funny stuff. we were on the road.
That company,
he was rolling it on and it was what?
Yeah, they have a roll-on perfume oil. It's not
good,
but I'm sure it's still synthetic in a way. But it's an oil, roll-on oil instead of a spray. And so I was like, so I brought it on the road, and he's like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
and, not good. Not good.
Better. Did it stink? You hated it?
It just wasn't a good smell.
It's called rum, and since I'm a borderline alcoholic in a fun way, it really worked for me.
That's what it was called. Was it called Dirty Socks? Because that's what it smelled like, and it's not good.
You'll have to send me a screen cap.
Don't ever do that again.
Okay.
So do you have some for guys and girls, or is it for both, or what is it?
So everything's pretty, the main therapeutic ones, like for example, our top seller is a sleepy time one. So that would be one you could wear during the day, but it's not really a perfume. It's more the answer to any sleep problems you have, anxiety.
Really?
Falling asleep and
is it the kind of thing where you where do you place it?
You roll it on your wrist, you roll it on your neck. You could put it on the bottom of your feet. I know that sounds weird, but
no, that's where you put the essential oils. Yeah.
Yeah, you put it on the bottom of your feet.
Yeah.
And the idea behind essential oils is that when you use the purest form, which of course we use, they enter your system within 20 minutes. They get into your cells. So instead of just, they're actually healing from the inside. If you believe in this stuff, it's
and that's probably part of it too, right? I'm not saying that it's a mind thing, but there is so much about, and this is a whole nother conversation, but you can't try something and then be like, this isn't going to work for me. And then it's all part of it.
You're talking about oils that cultures use too, like thousands of years ago that they're using to heal people and to feel certain ways. So there's got to be something to it. I mean, it's not just.
Yeah, I do have to share that I've had parents of kids, the two stories that stick out to me the most, that are the most like, I cried reading these messages. One of which, she has a special needs son who suffers from anxiety and horrible migraines. He started using our oils. We have different ones. Obviously, there was one specifically for migraines, and then we kind of have like one that's called Massage in a Bottle. That's sort of nature's Tiger Balm. So it's definitely great for tension and sore muscles, and can help with migraines and headaches. She sent me a message that his anxiety, he used our anxiety roller. He's so much calmer, and he hasn't had to take his migraine medicine since she started using the oil.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
Incredible. And the other one was a woman who said her daughter had been on allergy meds from the age of 3 through 17. Nothing has ever helped. And she used our Just Breathe roller, which is for allergies, congestion, all that. And it's working for her. And so, do the kids believe in it? I don't know. I don't know if that's
sure. Yeah.
If their mom, I'm sure if the mom's like, this is going to take your allergies away, then
right.
They're going to be like, it worked, you know?
Yeah.
So there is, I think that a lot of it has to do with your belief in it, because what you said is 100% true. And the other thing is just having a high quality product that may or may not work. Look, it's not for everyone. To this day, we haven't had anyone come back and say that it didn't work for them.
Right.
But I think the type of people that buy essential oils believe in it.
Well, and are probably looking for something, looking for that thing that is going to break through and help them.
For sure.
Where can people find everything that you're doing?
So KellyKrugerBrooks.com is my blog. My blog is Madison Charles, like I said, and that's where they could find all the oils, and that's my blog. And then my Instagram is at Kelly L. Kruger.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, hey, it's been a real delight to get to know you and visit with you.
Yeah, this has been great. That flew by, man. We could have done another hour.
I know.
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you back, because I'd love to talk more about, just what an entrepreneur you are. And, it's just really fascinating to see you do so much and be a mom and still tackle all the things that you're tackling, which is possible. People don't think it's possible, but it is possible. So
it certainly is.
Congratulations on everything. And tell Darin hi.
I will.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks,
Kelly,
guys.
thanks so much.
Thank you.